It's a new day. It's a new generation. It is indeed a new era for the Game Changer. Welcome indeed, you guys. I am your host, Nate the Effing Great, and I am being joined here by Mr. Max Beatty. Happy New Year, good sir.
Happy New Year, my friend. I have to admit, this first week of 2018 has actually been a little bit rough for me, but I got to stay inside and relax most of today, and I found out that our local library has video games, and I rented Final Fantasy 12. So after we're done talking about wrestling, I know what I'm going to be doing. So I'm just going to write off the first week of 2018 and just chill the weekend away.
Right. And also for us, it has actually been a pretty good week for professional wrestling. And let's just not waste any time. Let us talk about the main deal, and that is indeed Wrestle Kingdom 12 in the Tokyo Dome. New Japan.
God.
Yes. It just, boy howdy, was this...
Where do you even want to start on this one?
I mean, honestly, when I was talking to AJ, because he was watching the entire show when I was at work, he was just talking about how some of the matches were just amazing, but he mainly picked out that the matchup that really stood out to him the most, and he probably said it was the best matchup that he has seen probably ever, was the Fatal 4-Way matchup that featured Marty Scurll and Will Ospreay. I can't remember who...
He picked that for, like, the match of the night and for,
yeah,
the best match he's seen?
Yeah, basically, that's what he was saying.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I really liked that. I mean, Hiromu Takahashi and Kushida looked great. But I'm going to say this, and I know it's a sentiment that's been echoed by a lot of the internet right now, is that Marty Scurll got fucking robbed.
Really?
Are you fucking serious? I fucking love Marty Scurll. I can never remember how to pronounce it. Is it
Yeah, I think it's Marty Scurll. Yeah.
Scurll. Yeah, I apologize. I've only been like getting into New Japan really hard for like the last 2 months, so I'm getting caught up on things. So I apologize to everyone listening. I'm gonna butcher names this whole way through. Yes, even the non-Japanese ones, evidently. But no, I fucking love Marty. Marty's fantastic. His character work is great. That entry, I think that I really feel like he got robbed on this one. I mean, it was a great match. Don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say it wasn't a bad match. It was a great match, but the ending it sours me. And I really think if they're going to take the belt off of Marty, they should have put it on Kushida, I personally think. But, like, I mean, I'm not trying to rain on AJ's parade or anything like that. I mean, if this was, his big takeaway for the night, it was a great fucking match. Like, even with what I'm saying, it was fucking great. Jesus. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm like, okay, Marty's gonna lose. That's cool. Will Ospreay though? Very.
I mean, there's a lot of times where wrestling doesn't go the way that you had hoped, and some people would hope that, hey, maybe it would go to this person, maybe it should go to, like you said, Kushida, but, it doesn't always go the way that you want it to go. But
I mean, it's okay. The rest of the card, I mean, was just fucking great. Like, oh my god, fucking Ibushi versus Cody.
Whew. Yeah, I've heard nothing but really good things about that matchup.
God, they beat the fuck out of each other, and Cody was such a little. Oh, Cody has gotten really good at alternating between being like this, kind of cocky, in your face, American Nightmare, fuck the revival, kind of, meme spewing asshole villain. But when he is getting the shit kicked out of him, he knows how to play this very desperate, just very humanistic character. And oh man, they had great back and forth. Definitely not one of the longer matches. I mean, it was only, if I remember, like 14 or 15 something like that. So it's one of the shorter matches on the entire card, but it was really fucking good. Jeez, I friggin' like. What have you been hearing about it?
I just know that. Well, geez, I mean, do I really have to go any further than Kota Ibushi's performance in the Cruiserweight Classic? He was one of the main guys that everybody was looking forward to. Everybody was really hyping behind. And as soon as I saw him, I'm like, I understand why. He's really good. And for Cody, him just, being in the independent scene, he's done so well and improved so much that it's one of those reasons why everybody's saying, well, why the hell did WWE release him in the first place? I mean, come on. I mean, what was he doing before he was Stardust? Oh, right. Because, yeah. But, yeah, I've heard really good things about this matchup. Like you said, the back and forth deal between the two of them. But also just the chemistry that they've had really is hard to top. And also I want to kind of talk about something that happened, I think, just recently with the two of them. But we'll get into that in a little bit, because one thing we definitely needed to talk about when it came to Wrestle Kingdom 12 was the matchup that you and I had been hyping for since it was announced, and that was Alpha versus Omega. Chris Jericho versus Kenny Omega for the IWGP United States Championship. And
I was going to say this.
Yeah.
This is not my pick for match of the night. Believe it or not, I actually thought that the main event outstepped this one. But even so, even with me saying that this is only the second best match of the night, for me, it actually overstepped the hype. I thought that this went beyond what they hyped it up to, which is fucking saying something. I swear to God, Chris Jericho, the way he wrestled in this match, like, people have been saying, oh, he's been slowing down. I think he took some time to rest up, because the man's in his mid-40s, but was out there wrestling like he was in his early 30s. Like, Jesus.
Yeah.
He looked like such a fucking boss. I mean, and those chain switches that they did, oh my God. Omega ending it with the fucking one-winged angel. Oh my God. It's not even the best match of the fucking card. Good luck, Royal Rumble.
Right. I just remember watching this matchup in its entirety. First of all, the entrances were absolutely great. Chris Jericho coming out to his song from his recent, I think, cover from Fozzy, like Judas in My Mind or something like that, was great.
Yep, Judas in My Mind. Judas, like, of my mind, but, like, who fucking cares?
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, he came out with the jacket, he had the scarf, he outgrew his hair, which a lot of people were just saying, like, oh wow, that's completely new for him. I haven't seen that since probably 2000 or maybe like his last major run, which is probably like 2004, 2005, around that time. But yeah, at least it was one of those situations where his hair wasn't like flying all over the place. And then Kenny Omega's entrance, oh boy, that was so good. Probably just as good as his entrance last year. Like you said, the match itself, holy crap, was I just absolutely amazed at how these guys do. I mean, Kenny Omega still has quite a few years to go for him. And Chris Jericho, he could be on like maybe his last leg. But I will say this, that I do agree with you that Chris Jericho performance in this match, holy cow, this was one of the best that we've seen of Chris Jericho. Just, seeing him still do the lion salt, and it was also no disqualification, so that added that extra element to this matchup to where they really hyped it up that these two just almost absolutely hate each other. No, I shouldn't say it like that. They did absolutely hate each other. They just were wrecking each other's shit.
They fucking despised each other in this one, man.
Yeah, they really just played this up so well. So many great spots. Kenny Omega just using knee strikes like no tomorrow. And one of the moments that I loved was Kenny Omega going for the one-winged angel for, I think it was maybe like the second or third time or something like that. And Chris Jericho able to reverse that into the walls of Jericho. And just seeing Chris Jericho lock it into almost like the lion tamer where he puts his knee into his back while applying the walls. And just basically looking like Kenny Omega is a pretzel. I'm like, holy cow. why is Kenny Omega not tapping out right now? And
because Kenny Omega's the fucking boss,
man. Fair enough. And then we also see...
Oh my god, just... Like, we always go like, oh, this match will never live up to the hype, or oh, this match was so underhyped. This match surpassed its own hype. Like, good lord. And, oh my god, and again, the fucking main event. Oh, I've heard so many people saying, oh my god, Tetsuya Naito got robbed. Okada should finally drop the belt. Fuck you. Fuck you. No, fuck you. No, you know what? No, I don't mean to be mean. You are allowed your incredibly factually inaccurate, wrong, incorrect opinion. That's acceptable. You can sit in the wrong corner and be wrong. Naito was not screwed. Go back and watch that match and then come back and apologize.
Right.
Just as a side note, though, one thing I want to bring up from New Japan that a lot of people haven't been talking about. This was actually what I thought was the third best match of the night. Was the gauntlet match for the never open weight 6-man tag belts.
Okay.
Those were picked up by Chaos. I first off, Chaos was actually the first thing I ever heard about or knew about with New Japan Pro Wrestling. Faction that started, I want to say, back in 2009. One of its biggest parts, one of its leaders and all that was, of course, Shinsuke Nakamura. You know, Chaos is the faction that is responsible, both behind the scenes and in kayfabe, for bringing Strong Style back to New Japan Pro Wrestling. So I'll freely admit, once I found out they were in this, I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm rooting for Chaos. And Chaos fucking won. But this match was absolutely fantastic. Like, the tags in and out of this just flowed like a fucking river. And yet still they managed to have, the moment and the hot tag. And it's just, this match, I was over the moon with this match. And then after it, I still got... Alpha versus Omega, and then Okada versus Naito. So it's just, even if I just had those three matches, Wrestle Kingdom would have been fucking gold.
So, in your honest opinion, because you've gotten the chance to watch the entirety of Wrestle Kingdom, how would you honestly rate this for wrestling fans who have not gotten a chance to see it? Although, first of all, I think I know what your first thing is going to be saying about people who haven't seen it yet.
Well, no. New Japan is still getting its groundswell here in the U.S., and I totally get it. You know, if you want to get New Japan World, I mean, if you have WWE Network and Netflix, I've got the network, I've got Crunchyroll, I've got PSN, I've got all this other stuff, and it's just so I haven't signed up for New Japan World yet because a lot of people, it's that's one more subscription. And it's only starting its popularity. But if you have any interest in Japanese wrestling, just check out most of the Wrestle Kingdoms. But definitely check out last year's and check out this one. Oh my god. My opinion on it might be a little bit weird, just because I watched the entire card completely out of order, just whichever streams would work.
Right.
But I usually try to rate things on a 10 scale, so I'd probably give this entire show a 9 out of 10. Not everything's perfect. I re-looked up, the order of the matches as we were doing this recording here, and thinking about what that order would have felt like, I think some of the booking was a little bit I would have put this here and this here. New Japan has a tendency to have very long matches. There are multiple matches that go over 30 minutes, so if you're a newcomer, that's definitely going to be off-putting for you. The atmosphere doesn't always quite click right, but it's a lot of little tiny gripes here and there. Marty getting screwed. Oh wait, Marty getting screwed isn't a small gripe. That's the reason it's not a 10 out of 10, New Japan. You screwed the villain. Screw the villain, motherfucker. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
No, I'm joking. No, honestly, probably a 9 out of 10. If I really want to be, critical and kind of nitpicky, 8.5 out of 10. This is still probably going to be one of the best it's probably going to be one of, if not the best, New Japan shows of the year, and easily one of the best, if not the best, just wrestling shows of the year between ROH, Lucha Underground, New Japan, WWE, all the big ones. So,
right.
But hey, we'll find out when Ultima Lucha Cuatro comes around. So
That is true.
I just realized something. We're probably going to get that this year. So we're going to get like Ultima Lucha Cuatro. We're going to get Wrestle Kingdom, and I'm just like, oh god, they're really trying to fucking kill us this year, aren't they?
Probably.
Ignore how bad the world is. We're going to kill you with kindness.
Totally okay with that. So, a couple more things that I thought we should talk about before we move on from New Japan, which I know we could really spend like a whole entire episode talking about how awesome New Japan's been doing, especially since last year. The aftermath of Wrestle Kingdom 12, we saw, first thing, that Chris Jericho actually might be sticking around a bit longer after his match with Kenny Omega. And he's not feuding with Kenny Omega, actually. He's actually going to be feuding with Naito. Is that correct?
Yeah, yes. If I'm wrong on that, I did see the video clip of him attacking, and I'm pretty damn sure it's Naito, the guy who lost to Okada. If I am incorrect on that, please, someone, feed me the correct information. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure it's Naito, which, oh my god, that's going to be so, first off, that match is going to be so fucking good. Oh my god. Second off, the back and forth interviews that they're going to have to conduct are just going to be fucking great. And third off, this is just brilliant booking. Like, they clearly want Okada to be, big belt holder for a good long while yet. So he's got plenty of challengers lined up. Jericho just lost to Omega, and Naito just lost to Okada, so they both need something to do, and they're both big-name stars. They both lost on Wrestle Kingdom. They're both probably going to be a little embittered. I'm just like, it's very natural. It feels very organic. I really, really like it. And I'm just like, oh my god, if that's Naito, I'm going to lose my shit. I'm going to die.
Oh, man. Yeah, I think that's going to be a pretty good matchup. And the fact that Chris Jericho is still sticking around was kind of one of those things that actually surprised me. In fact, a lot of people were revealing that. I'm like, really? And I saw why.
He's got that active WWE Legends, or maybe not Legends, but he's got, like, he still has a form of contract with WWE.
Yeah, and he actually did a Facebook Live deal where people were talking to him, and people were asking if he was going to be. There was one kid that was talking to him via Facebook Live, where he basically says, "Are you going to be in the Royal Rumble?" And Chris Jericho says, "No, I'm not going to be in the Royal Rumble. If I was going to be in the Royal Rumble, I wouldn't even tell you guys." It's like, hey, fair enough. So there's a good chance that Chris Jericho might not be a surprise entrant in the Royal Rumble this year. You never know, but something tells me he's going to be a little busy with New Japan, being treated like royalty over there. I guarantee you that he is probably going to be one of those guys that everybody just wants to just, worship every single footstep that he takes in Japan.
Legit question here, and it's something that I know a lot of other people have been questioning.
What's
Do
up?
you think that he actually picks up a belt while he's over there?
Ooh, that is
And it doesn't even have to be singles belt. Like, people have been talking about him, like, teaming up with someone and doing, like, the heavyweight or the never tag belts or something like that. Like, tag, singles, whatever. Do you think they do it?
I think if they found the right combination of people for him to work with, then yes. But for right now, I think the closest thing I could see him getting a title would probably have been either the IWGP US title or maybe the IWGP Intercontinental title, which would be very interesting because here, I will say this, when it comes to Chris Jericho, I think he's done everything that there is to do in WWE, and people can say, there's still so much. Is there really? Because when I look at Chris Jericho's career, he's done just about everything. I mean, somebody could make the argument he could still win a Royal Rumble. Yes, but he has also main evented WrestleMania, so I think he's done everything that he's wanted to do. If I had to pick, two things that I could see him doing before he, hangs up his boots in WWE, one would be probably a brief run as Universal Champion, which, oh god, that'd be absolutely amazing. Can you imagine? And the second being getting that final run as the Intercontinental Champion, which is why I brought up the IWGP IC title, is that he could still technically say, hey, I'm a 10-time Intercontinental Champion. Yeah, it wasn't in WWE, but it's still the Intercontinental title. So, beat that, noobs.
See, that's kind of what I was thinking, because, like, the IC belt is kind of like his thing over here. But on top of that, like, it's the IC belt over in New Japan, I mean, that was the belt that Styles and Nakamura wrestled over. That belt has been in the past and has become, over the past few years, huge. It's treated with the same level of reverence you'd reserve for, like, their world titles and all that. It's fucking amazing. And it's kind of, I mean, I know saying something's the workhorse title in New Japan is almost meaningless, but it's the closest thing to, like, a quote-unquote singles workhorse. Like, for some reason, when you're the IWGP IC champion, you tend to wrestle a lot more matches than usual. So I think it would be fucking perfect for Jericho, especially with his current, no fucks given, take out whoever I want kind of almost mercenary persona he's got going on over there. So, I mean, I'd love to see that.
So the other thing that I wanted to talk about before we finally end talking about New Japan and move on to, of course, our good old pals over in WWE is the thing that's going on within the Bullet Club. Now, when I mentioned the things that were going on with Kota Ibushi and Cody Rhodes, there was a little bit of aftermath where Cody Rhodes was actually going after Kota Ibushi, and it looked like he was going to attack him. But then Kenny Omega got involved, and he stops Cody. And one of the things that they really stressed about this was the fact that Kenny Omega said to Cody, "I'm the leader," basically putting Cody in his place. And Cody had this kind of look of just like, fuck, what the hell? Just really not pleased with hearing that. And for me, I thought to myself, could this be putting in the seeds for a possible Kenny Omega versus Cody Rhodes match? Oh my god. I want to see that now. I want these two to split now because I just want to see that matchup by itself. If this was like, if Wrestle Kingdom 13 is going to be just as good as 12 or 11, this would be one matchup that I would love to see. I mean, tell me you do not want to see Cody Rhodes versus Kenny Omega. Holy shit.
Oh my god, I didn't know about that, dude. Oh my god. If they have like a battle for the leadership of Bullet Club, holy shit. I do have to wonder, though, as much as Cody's great, like, past battles for leadership or the filling of power vacuums with the Bullet Club, it always felt like it was a big deal, not just because of who the wrestler was or where they'd been before, but because of Bullet Club. And I kind of feel at this point with Kenny and Cody, if they were to go at it over that kind of, thing, over the, leadership of Bullet Club or what have you, it would feel like it's superseding the Bullet Club at that point. Like, it's just about them. And it's kind of gotten to the point where I almost feel like maybe Bullet Club's getting, like, overexposed, like, overly ubiquitous, like, it's just kind of everywhere.
So kind of like NWO back in WCW?
Kind of, but more in the sense that it's, like, the NWO got overexposed because, just bad booking, and they put them into every single possible fucking angle, and they never put anyone over them. They always had to win, and even if WCW got a win, it was pretty much, undone the following night. Bullet Club, I think, is getting overexposed because the personalities are becoming bigger than the concept, and because it's just been around for so long at this point. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, like Kenny Omega, the Tongans, the Bucks, Cody, all these people are extremely popular, but what's more popular right now? The Bullet Club as a faction or the Bullet Club as a t-shirt design?
I never really thought of it like that, but it really...
I'm not trying to knock anything. I'm not trying to say I hate the Bullet Club. I'm not trying to diss them. I'm not trying to, slam New Japan. I'm just saying that this is just a natural thing that happens over time. It's the reason why, even if a TV show is doing really well, like the stories are good, if it's been going on for like 8, 9, 10 years, it starts to lose viewership because people just no matter how good something is, people start to it gets overexposed. People get kind of tired of it.
Hey, I can understand that, and there's that. It's that reason alone is why you and I we have the BD Club shirts going on. So, and we wish that we could get as overexposed as Bullet Club is, but
right. I'd kill to be on their level of overexposure, where I'm just like I go to some convention with my friends, or I'm just like chilling out online, and I watch someone talking about wrestling in a vlog, and they've got a BD Club shirt, and I'm just like, yep, this is it. I'm gonna go buy myself another PS4 with my cut of the fucking earnings.
Yes, indeed. Maybe one day. Hey, one of our slogans is "A Man Can Dream," and it's a really good dream, especially if we could do that. But I think first things first is that we'll definitely have to inquire some more members, because I think so far for the BD Club we have you, me, Kari. A lot of people know her as Charisma from Slack Off the Show, as well as of like our only person that is probably like celebrity worthy, and that being Noelle Foley from like 2 years ago.
So we've got the celebrity member who maybe probably kind of definitely doesn't remember us. We've got the charisma. We've got the person who is not on our show, really. It's just the two founding members. I feel like maybe no offense to anyone involved, y'all are great people, but at the same time, maybe some expansion? Some growth?
Yeah. We'll definitely try to do that this year, so definitely expect, the BD Club to start going to expansion, maybe just start breaking out the cuts for, certain people. But, we'll make a list, we'll check it twice.
BD Club Hollywood, BD Club Wolfpack. if I pull out a red shirt, just shoot me. just be like, nope. That's gone too far. I'm old yellering this shit.
Right. All right. So I think we talked a lot about New Japan. We're already like about a half hour into this show, and we've talked about nothing but New Japan. But then again, can we really blame us? We could have talked a whole show about this.
Yeah, no. We talked about ourselves too. Come on.
That's fair.
We have been dominating this with Japanese wrestling and our own arrogance. Get it straight.
Okay, fair enough. So let's talk about, of course, our good pals over in WWE, starting off with Monday Night Raw. Some of the highlights that came out through that show, and one of the first things that I think about when it comes to Raw is Kurt Angle coming out and talking about the Women's Rumble. It's like, all right, great, we're talking about it. They talked about the rules. It's like, really? You're going to basically make an announcement that the Women's Royal Rumble is the same thing as the men's. You could have just kept that just as a mystery or something like that, or you could have just said absolutely nothing about it, because I think
could have assumed we're not idiots.
Well, apparently in this one they just assumed. Oh, for those that need to clarify, it's the same thing. It's like, we could have figured that out on our own. You could have just left that all the way up till, the actual bell where they make the rules announcement, and we would have been totally fine.
Right. The one thing, though, that kind of wound up sticking out to me, and it's nothing to do with the announcement or the promo that was cut or anything like that, but it's something I realized. They're doing the same number of participants. This is a 30-woman over-the-top rope Royal Rumble. Okay. Between the Raw and SmackDown women's rosters, that's not 30 people.
Right.
Which means it's like you kind of figured, oh yeah, they're definitely going to bring up some NXT stars, but normally that would mean, like, think of the men's Royal Rumble. Oh, they brought up some NXT stars, and even if they hadn't, and just did everyone from Raw and SmackDown like 15 apiece, that's like a drop in the bucket for the whole active roster. With the women's roster, it's so thin, both of them combined aren't even 30, and they have to go to NXT to kind of shore it up. But at the same time, everyone kind of figures that none of the NXT stars are going to win, so That's like, say, 7 people that kind of don't matter. Like, this is probably going to be a really good match. I'm looking forward to it, but it's nothing wrong with the match or with the wrestlers involved. It's a problem with what WWE currently has to, play with, what they have to offer. It's just, you guys set this up without realizing how kind of not big your roster is.
Yeah, I do agree with you entirely when it comes to that. But they've also considered the idea of bringing in some surprise talent or surprise returns.
Ronda Rousey makes her debut.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of rumors about that.
God. Oh, man. I wonder, like, if that were to happen, oh, my God. How do you think people would react?
I think the nostalgia factor would be there. People would definitely be losing their minds when...
How would they react if she won?
Oh, boy. I know how you and I would react if she won.
Well, Ronda Rousey doesn't sound like Asuka, so clearly the wrong person won. The universe is glitched, and we're in the darkest timeline.
I think, again, it would be like that nostalgia factor again, where...
Not for me.
I think for Ronda Rousey to win, I don't want to make this comparison, but I feel like it's the most relatable. Do you remember back in, oh God, I can't believe I'm saying this year, 2014, they brought back Dave Bautista.
I knew you were going to mention him.
Yep.
I knew that's what you were going to talk about. I knew it. I don't think it would be that harsh because, like, Asuka's very, very popular, but nobody on the roster, I would argue right now, has hit Daniel Bryan Yes Movement levels of popular. Like, nobody. Like, there are some extremely over people in both the men, the women, the tag teams, everybody. But nobody's hit that point yet. And that was right when it was starting to, get close to the peak of it. When, when Bautista went over and, won the Rumble. And I think that was what really stuck with people and what really helped turn him, hard heel and get the crowd just to hate everything. So I don't think it would be that bad, even if, say, Ronda eliminated all the, like, top picks, all the big favorites, Asuka, the Four Horsewomen, etc., etc. But the crowd I could see the crowd just not having it. I could see them being very unhappy.
Yeah, I do.
People are going to lose their shit. They're going to be cheering. Get her in some good pops, good spots and sequences. Hell, have her be in the Final Four. But that's it.
Yeah, I think that as far as like the Final Four goes, that should be the farthest that she goes. If she makes it to like the Final Two, depends. I think if it's between Ronda and Asuka, that'd be great.
Oh yeah, because like at that point, just book the Rumble so those two just get like a good, say, 7 minutes there at the end. Not too long, but not too short. They just basically kill each other for 6.5 minutes and then spend 30 seconds trying to eliminate each other, and then Asuka eliminates her, and then, well, gee, I wonder what her first feud is going to be after she wins the title at Mania.
So, speaking of Asuka killing, we got Asuka versus Alexa Bliss on Monday Night Raw, and boy howdy. Let me just first start off by saying this. You definitely brought up a really good point that when Asuka came to the main roster, it should not have been her having a competitive matchup. She should have definitely done some squashes before finally getting to that point. If anything right now, I think that this matchup between Alexa Bliss and Asuka would have been the right way to start having Asuka start having those competitive matches, because in all honesty, I thought this matchup between Asuka and Alexa Bliss was really good. I mean, I know that a lot of people are definitely going to be saying, well, Alexa Bliss is not going to survive at all. Let's just face it. She's small but mighty, but when it comes to Asuka, she ain't ready for shit.
See, for me, and I brought this up before, but for me, I really hate that whole such and such has pinned or tapped out the champion, and it's just, especially in a non-title match, even more so when it's like Asuka's going to be in the Rumble. She's basically, she's got to weigh in. She doesn't need to make it. For me, it doesn't help the person who beats the champion, and it doesn't help the champion. If anything, it makes them look kind of weak. But it's like, it's a double-edged sword here because it was a pretty good match. And I agree, these are the kind of matches that she should have been having from the start. It's just, the conflict.
Well, here's something that was actually brought up in the rumor mill, is that there could be a chance that Asuka is going to be taking the strap off of Alexa Bliss before even Royal Rumble happens. And honestly, can you imagine if Asuka and Bliss actually does make it as one of the matches for Royal Rumble? I mean, it would definitely be one of those things where a lot of people would probably be thinking, like, no, she should win the Royal Rumble, and then we get that thing at WrestleMania. In all honesty, I'm okay with them putting the strap on Asuka right now. In all honesty, Bliss has done a great job as champion, but I think she really does need to start, getting into a feud with somebody who's probably on her level and who's on her level more than Asuka at this point. And honestly, it's hard. It's cherry picking at this point. It's like, well, I mean, you could say Sasha Banks. Apparently, nobody likes her anymore. Bayley, they've given up on that horse. Nia Jax, well, why the hell have they not done that? And then there's Asuka. Oh, please, God, just put the belt on her forever and ever more. And whoever wins the Women's Royal Rumble, screw that. Just the reign of Asuka. Nobody cares.
Nobody cares. Good Lord.
And honestly, this would open up the possibility of Ronda Rousey winning the first ever Women's Royal Rumble. And then we get Asuka versus Ronda at WrestleMania.
This is all, of course, if
hypothetical.
Ronda makes her debut. This
right.
This isn't just like who's going to win. This is like a hypothetical wrapped in another hypothetical.
Right. But
It would be cool, but I don't even know if I really want it.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know. I might be singing a different tune if and when it ever finally happens. But like as of right now, I'm like, I can live without it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see your point. So, let's see. We'll move on from that. I mean, because honestly, we don't need to talk more about Alexa Bliss getting killed by Asuka. I think that.
Oh my God, no! She dead though. She dead. Alexa Bliss's family gonna want to put out a fucking report. They're gonna want to press murder charges. There is a dead body.
I definitely agree with that. So. We also got a Intercontinental Championship matchup between Roman Reigns and Samoa Joe. And if Roman Reigns were to lose by disqualification, he would forfeit the title to Samoa Joe.
Spoiler alert, this was the best match on Raw.
Oh my gosh, this matchup was really good. And the thing was, what made it great was that the fact that they told that story. They definitely hyped up the whole Roman Reigns is, no, Roman, don't get disqualified, you lose the belt. And even, Samoa Joe just yelling at him, just saying, hit me, come on, you want to hit me. Just yelling at him when Roman has the steel steps, and Roman just wants to kill Samoa Joe. It's just one of those things where it's like, they actually told the story. They actually did a great job with this. And some people are just saying, like, oh, well, Roman Reigns buried Samoa Joe. BS. Samoa Joe was just great in this matchup, and Samoa Joe is at the level of Braun Strowman, where it's like he can lose probably like 3 matches. It's not going to matter because Samoa Joe is super over. Braun Strowman, super over.
Samoa Joe was perfectly fine, and hell, I mean, and I'm sorry, it's one of those things where, god damn, that was on free TV. They just gave this shit away. God damn, son. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't mind, by all means. I mean, if like this were back in the days of, when pay-per-views were still a thing, I think this match would have probably been even more well received because it's like, oh shit, we didn't have to pay $45 for this. What? Like, damn.
Yeah, I know. And to nobody's surprise, of course, Roman Reigns were to pick up the victory. But again, it was a great matchup between Samoa Joe and Roman Reigns. These guys put on one hell of a showing. And, in all honesty, I've gone on record to say that I think the IC Championship Open has done a lot more than the United States Championship Open, but that's just my opinion. I want to actually know your opinion. Which one do you think was better? I'm going to pull probably a I'm trying to remember his name. Salamonster. He does this deal where he says either buy or sell between these two. So, which one would you buy and which one would you sell? The U.S. Championship Open or the Intercontinental Championship Open?
I'm gonna have to like the ones that have been done, or just the idea overall.
I think the idea overall, we'll say.
If it's the idea overall, buy Intercontinental Championship Open, sell U.S. title Open.
Because I think that one of the main arguments is, of course, that with the U.S. title open, it was mainly just one of those things for Cena to just, defeat everyone. And really, did anything good come out of, them being in the U.S. Championship Open? Well, no, really, because they came up and then they lost to Cena. That was it. When they had the U.S. Open with, Roman Reigns, these guys still are relevant. That's the thing about it that I loved about it, is that, one of the first things that he did was fight Elias Sampson. Really good matchup, and Elias is still over, if not probably more over than what he was before because of his now, found wrestling ability. Another matchup, him and Cesaro. Well, really, that's all I need to say is, Roman Reigns versus Cesaro. Cesaro's not going to get, buried. He's not going to get forgotten anytime soon. And another prime example, Roman versus Joe. Joe, again, already was over, but this was another one of those matches that really helped him because it shows that Samoa Joe can work with anybody, even somebody who is, quote-unquote, horrible in the ring as Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Max Media, man, a few words on Roman Reigns.
I don't fucking hate the dude anymore, and when he's booked properly, the guy's a fucking monster. But there are plenty of wrestlers who are good regardless of booking. Like, they can spin gold out of straw and all that, and spin gold out of bullshit. But Roman's not one of them. He needs good booking, he needs good context. If you give that to him, dude's a monster. The dude will wreck house, and it'll be so fucking fun to watch. Just look at this match with Samoa Joe. Shit was boffo. But when he's not booked properly, yeah, okay, it's pretty much all I can say about him, all about how you use him. The dude's the exclamation point. If you overuse it, makes everything look stupid. If you underuse it, nothing feels right. If you use it just right, it feels like you just speared someone's body in half.
Speaking of wrecked, R.I.P. to the tag team of Rhino and Heath Slater, who got absolutely demolished by Braun Strowman, and everybody...
They dead as fuck. They're like deader than Alexa Bliss right now. Jesus Christ, throw some roses on the grave already.
I honestly just remember when they did the whole Heath Slater free agent storyline, and that was probably slowly buried, but I think that this was almost like the final nail of the coffin of like, well, there goes Heath Slater's push, there goes Heath Slater's cheers forever, because now he's going to need to think of something completely different because nobody's going to give a crap about his kids anymore. But, yeah, just Braun Strowman again looking strong going into the matchup between him, Kane, and Brock Lesnar at the Royal Rumble. And, of course, we see a little bit of a story deal between Kane and Brock Lesnar where Kane just chokeslams Brock. Kane's about to leave, and Brock does the whole sit-up deal. I'm surprised they did not really mention the whole deal where it was like, oh my gosh, they did that. He kind of reminds us of, like when he did that to The Undertaker, to John Cena, something like that. They're just saying like, oh, he's doing it just like Kane would do it. It's like, are we like forgetting the fact that he did that to Taker and Cena, which was honestly some of the best stuff of Brock's entire career, where he just sat up and he just started laughing. Are we just going to forget all that entirely?
Yeah, I guess so. We're just going to toss it all to the side. It doesn't matter.
Oh, man. They might as well just have like a gif of The Rock just saying it doesn't matter for all the internet critics that are just going to say like, oh, remember when this happened? Remember when this happened? At WWE replying to this person, it doesn't matter. It's like, well, that answers your question, guys. But the main thing that I think we could take away from Monday Night Raw is the fact that I think they definitely tried to top New Japan Pro Wrestling because, oh man, I'm just getting giddy. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about this. There was a 6-man tag team matchup in which we saw a good team in Elias Sampson, Bo Dallas, and Curtis Axel. They took on the phenomenal team. No, I can't even say phenomenal team. It's undescribable, this team. Finn Balor and the Club reunited. About freaking time. Honestly, the promo between those guys, I just, oh my god. Finn Balor talking to Kurt Angle, just saying to him, yeah, I want Elias and I want the Miztourage, and Kurt's like, oh, I'll give it to you. You just got to find, 2 partners. And he's like, oh, I got him. Here comes Gallows and Anderson. And literally my jaw's on the floor like, what? They're doing this? And even with Gallows and Anderson doing their new catchphrase of nerds, it's like, oh my god, they're teaming with Finn Balor. They're doing that. I'm like a little 5-year-old who's coming down on Christmas morning, seeing all the gifts that are there. It's like endless joy right here. I'm swimming in a New Japan pool of just absolute happiness, just seeing Gallows Anderson and Finn Balor reuniting on this night. Yes, they basically destroyed, Elias and Miztourage, but what's your point? We see the club finally reunited. I loved it. I'm sorry, I know I'm ranting, I know I'm just, I'm just being super nostalgic about this. It's just like, oh my god, I was so happy.
Oh my god, jeez, I don't even know, man. there is a part of me that just wants to go, oh, this kind of comes out of nowhere, and they should have done this fucking a while ago, and, but at the same time, I'm like, you know what, this could go places. They could actually, yes, it came out of nowhere, but they could start turning that around, actually, give some context and shit on Monday. Just giving myself to the fucking moment. It was goddamn beautiful. Fucking tear in my eye. I just fucking goddamn it, you finally did it, WWE. Finally fucking listened. Do not fuck this up, or I swear to God.
I think that we've had at least like one of these moments in the past. I want to say 3. I want to say it might be longer than that, but I think in the last 3 weeks there's at least been one of these moments where you've said that, and it all dates back to when we found out about Asuka coming to the main roster, and that was one of the first few times where it's just like,
don't fuck up.
It's like, don't fuck up. I will nuke the moon. I will do it, and nobody's gonna stop me. And I'll just try to take the button away. And it's just like, oh, it's okay. I got another one. Beep, boom. Well, we're screwed.
I'm just saying. There's a web series I really like on YouTube, and whenever the main characters are going off to do a plan, one of them will turn around, look at one of the other ones, and go, "Hey, Blondie, what? Don't fuck up." So I'm just gonna quote that guy right now. Hey, WWE, don't fuck up.
Fair enough. One more thing we'll hit about with Monday Night Raw before we move on to SmackDown is the fact that they made the announcement that next week we are going to get the return of the awesome one, The Miz. And boy...
Oh, God, yes!
And boy, howdy, is this going to be just a happy day for everybody. So I guess the big question is, what does The Miz do when he comes back? I mean, I think there's a main part of me that thinks, well, he's probably going to enter into the Royal Rumble. But does he go back for the Intercontinental Championship?
I think he does both.
You think he does both?
I think that... Now, this would be fucking beautiful to see. The Miz picks the belt off of Roman Reigns prior to the Rumble. He enters the Rumble. Roman Reigns winds up drawing the number immediately after Miz's, so they enter back to back, and they just pay attention to each other throughout the entire Rumble. They're just beating the piss out of each other for the whole time. Someone or a group of people eliminate them both simultaneously, and that allows their feud to continue forward post the Rumble, possibly blowing off in an IC title match at WrestleMania.
Whew. Wow, that would actually be really good. I know a lot of people want.
I know, right? Let's put this. The Miz gets to go into a WrestleMania as a fucking champion. He's gonna have a Miztourage entrance in WrestleMania. How are you gonna hate that? You answer, you can't hate it.
You know, I don't even have an answer for that. That's real. That's really good booking.
Thing of beauty. Hey, WWE, don't fuck up.
I think that's going to have to be like a new hashtag with anytime we have like a great moment.
Don't fuck up.
Yep, hashtag don't fuck up. We're gonna make that official on Twitter anytime that we see a great moment in wrestling. We're just I honestly could see you just like tagging WWE. It's like, hey, at WWE, hashtag don't fuck up.
I know you want to, but don't fuck up.
And then I see you getting blocked by them like almost like a minute after you put the
blocked by WWE. Somehow I managed to get the thing fucking trending everywhere. All of a sudden, like thousands upon thousands of people are sending tweets to WWE hashtag don't fuck up. My army vindicates me.
That would be amazing. All right, so we go into SmackDown Live, and we actually started off with a bit of a surreal deal between the Usos as well as Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. This was one of those matches where I was literally just scratching my head so hard that I honestly felt like I was just scratching into my skull because I didn't understand what the hell happened during this matchup. Because we see
the match was so weird and awkwardly put together. It's like, the fuck is even happening?
So for those that don't know what we're basically talking about, it was a tag team title matchup. It was a good tag team title matchup. We see Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable hit their tag team finish of the powerbomb clothesline combo. 1, 2, 3. We think that we have new tag team champions in Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. The second referee comes out and they just talk and they show a replay of the tag that was made between Benjamin and Jimmy, I think it was. And then they show the replay of the final finish where it was Jey Uso and Chad Gable basically involved in the final decision. So this is one of those things where it's like, is it really considered a dusty finish? It's like, no, this is just considered a complete, I have no idea what the fuck is going on finish.
This is called if we confuse the audience hard enough, they'll think it's good finish.
I am one of those people that...
It feels like they didn't know what the fuck to do with this match and just said, fuck it at the end.
See, if they would have done a deal where, like, you know, I guess we'll say this, like, the two legal men were involved and, like, one of the guys, you know, puts their foot on the bottom rope and they make it seem like, 1, 2, 3, boom, and then the referee just says, like, wait, no, that would have been fine. And that would have been, like, totally okay. But the way that they handled this tag team title matchup was really, like you said, it was just really weird because really, does this do anything for either teams? I don't know. I don't think it really does because the Usos were already good as is, and the rising stars of, you know, Chad Gable and Shelton Benjamin. It was just like, yeah, it's a good deal. It was a good matchup that I think that a lot of people would have argued would have been great to have on a pay-per-view, but the way that they handled this, it's like you just took that specialness away, really, because you had this weird finish.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily a bad finish. It's just confusing. Like, what are you going for here, WWE?
I have no idea what what they were really thinking. But I think it is going to continue the feud between the two of them, which I'm okay with. I'm hoping that maybe we get to see, the two of them compete maybe in a tag team Iron Man match. I think that would be awesome.
Oh, that'd be fun as hell.
Oh man. And just seeing like all the stuff that Chad Gable could do during that matchup would absolutely just, blow my mind. And I think both of us would be like, I think we need to put a strap on Chad Gable. Tag team title belt. No. Give him the US title. Hell, give him the WWE title. That would be fine. I would be totally okay with that. Chad Gable has become a rising star, and he is actually starting to really come out on his own as one of the best, tag team, should be singles competitors right now, guys, on SmackDown right now. He is a rising star that will not be denied. I am not going to be one of those people that is just going to say that just because I like the guy. I like the guy. He's very talented. He knows what he's doing. Those matches with him and Rusev, and the matches with him and AJ were absolutely amazing. So why have they not put a strap on him? Well, we're going to put the tag team titles. Again, I want a single strap on Chad Gable.
Well, I guess in American Alpha we know who wasn't the Marty.
Or who wasn't who didn't represent the greatness in the world's greatest tag team. Oh, I went there. Wow. So
I agree. They should put a singles belt on him. Just put the U.S. belt on him. That one practically writes itself, for fuck's sake.
Well, hopefully after WrestleMania we see that. And hell, jeez, put the strap on Chad Gable and then just have him feud with Shelton Benjamin. That would be absolutely amazing. I mean,
I'd be down for that.
So, speaking of the U.S. belt, we had another first-round matchup in the U.S. title tournament in which we had Xavier Woods versus Aiden English. And it's Rusev Day once again.
It's always Rusev Day. Come on now.
That is true. I'm just going to keep saying it like that just because Rusev Day is one of the best concepts that Rusev has ever thought of, like, ever. And the match itself between Woods and Aiden English, one of the things that I think I actually do appreciate about this matchup is the fact they're actually giving new guys some opportunities to really shine. I thought in this matchup, Aiden English and Xavier Woods, they definitely really, set the bar, if not, exceeded the bar that a lot of people gave them. I thought that a lot of people were probably going to be thinking, like, oh, this matchup is going to suck, it's going to be stupid, it's going to be rough. No, they actually did pretty good. I'm surprised more and more each day how well Aiden English, just evolves in the ring. Like, his moveset is definitely expanding. Xavier Woods is definitely continuing to be entertaining. Just, man, I'm just flabbergasted on how good this matchup was. And then we see Xavier Woods hitting his elbow drop from the top rope. And no, I'm not saying the top turnbuckle. I'm saying he actually does a tightrope deal like freaking, a Cirque du Soleil. And just does his elbow drop on Aiden English for the win. Woods goes on to face off against Jinder Mahal for the semifinals. And next week we also get Zack Ryder versus Mojo Rawley. Ryder needs to win. I don't care if anybody says, like, oh, but Mojo Rawley's on a roll. No. Ryder versus Rude is like the best thing that I could honestly see right now. I think that would be one of the best matches going into it. I want to see that. I mean, Woods versus Jinder Mahal. Rude versus Ryder. Totally fine with that. Take my money.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm 1,000% behind that shit.
But of course, I think they're going to probably put the win behind Mojo Rawley because they need it to be face versus heel. It's like, you had faces versus faces all the time during the U.S. Championship Open. How is this different? Oh, because it's a tournament, we have to do like that. Shut the hell up. Just give us Ryder versus Rude, and I'll be happy. Even if, the person that I want to win does not win, I don't care. We get Ryder versus Rude. Because Ryder is awesome, Rude is awesome, and I think that Rude definitely needs a really good opponent in this tournament. You really think that it's going to happen with Mojo Rawley versus Bobby Roode? I don't think so. Nope. All right, so from there, we also see the Riot Squad taking on the reuniting welcoming committee. Oh, God. Literally, I posted this on Twitter. I basically said, so they're bringing back the welcoming committee. Well, so much for those ratings, huh? Well, those ratings were already at 0. Oh, right. So they're basically going into, like, WCW standards for this segment, for this matchup entirely. What could save them?
I've been finally watching season 2 of Stranger Things this past week.
Oh, right, nice segue.
I kind of wanted to just stop this and just switch back over. Just like a welcoming committee comes out. You know, I've only got one episode of Stranger Things left. Like, I've since finished it, but the temptation was fucking strong, man.
Yeah, we see Riot Squad winning. Nobody cared. They announced they're all going to be in the Rumble. Okay. Here comes Charlotte. Oh, interesting. And she says, hey, we got somebody that wants to basically beat the crap out of you. Naomi. Okay, this segment's getting better. Oh, there's one other person. Whoa. And literally I'm thinking to myself, Max Beatty is probably jumping out of his seat right now because Becky Lynch is back. Because Becky Lynch is back. After being off for a while and playing to that storyline of basically being injured by the Riot Squad, now we see Becky Lynch back. And it looks like that they are definitely going to be feuding with the Riot Squad all the way up until the Rumble. Totally okay with this, actually. Because, geez Louise, I mean, the story's there for Becky Lynch to be involved, so it makes practical sense. And Charlotte's been feuding with them, and Naomi got injured by them, so it's like, okay, this actually could work. I mean, granted, I think the Riot Squad, haven't they already lost a 3-on-3 already, or are they still undefeated?
I'm pretty sure they lost at least one.
Okay. So that would have been better if they would have just, kept them undefeated for a while and then have that moment of nostalgia where they actually lose to Charlotte, Becky, and Naomi. But, it's one of those things where it's like, Riot Squad, they could be good, but they're no absolution. I'm sorry. I mean, let's look at the lineup. You got Sarah Logan. Okay. Ruby Riott. Nah, I'm not fully on board with her. Liv Morgan. Shut the hell up. Liv Morgan is basically a copycat of Carmella. We only needed one of those on the SmackDown Live roster. And she's also basically ripping off Alexa Bliss's Harley Quinn gimmick. What the hell is going on? Just why? Just why is all I have to say.
Because someone spiked the punch with bleach.
Yeah, and apparently affected Kevin Dunn and Vince McMahon. Oh, no, wait, they were always crazy.
Kevin Dunn, Jesus.
Yeah. All right, so one more thing to talk about SmackDown Live, and then we'll talk about some other things. Main event was Sami Zayn versus AJ Styles. Good matchup, really good matchup. I'm nostalgic about the fact that they put Styles and Zayn in the ring. It was good. They came up with this really stupid storyline again of having, there's Kevin Owens there, therefore Shane McMahon's going to be at ringside. Oh, and Daniel Bryan's going to be at ringside. And then the sloppy finish of, Shane wants Kevin Owens to be thrown out. Daniel Bryan says, okay, hey, you can join him. And then we see Sami Zayn hit the Helluva Kick on Styles for the 1-2-3. Styles basically says, I'm a fighting WWE champion, so you know what? I want you guys in a handicap match. Daniel Bryan decides, we're going to go a little more beyond that. We're going to have Styles defend the WWE title against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a handicap match. I hear this announcement and immediately I was thinking to myself, this is stupid. But then I thought to myself, wait a minute. Compared to the Raw matchup that they have a triple threat with Braun, Kane, and Lesnar, and then SmackDown's replying with another three-man matchup, but it's a handicap match between Owens and Zayn, who have been really good as a team. They're taking on AJ Styles, who is arguably one of the best wrestlers in the world today. And I only say arguably because of New Japan. And it's for the title, and they're doing this thing with Daniel Bryan here. So, somehow I think the SmackDown Live main event might actually surpass the Raw one.
God, I would agree with that. Definitely. I did just have a thought, though.
What's up?
And it's not related to SmackDown, but it's something that just occurred to me. So, we got the Royal Rumble match for the guys, Royal Rumble match for the women.
Mm-hmm.
Typical Royal Rumble match usually goes over an hour. We'll say the women's Royal Rumble match goes for just shy of an hour to an hour.
Okay.
And you've got the triple threat for the Universal title.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to go like 15, 20, maybe 25 minutes. What the fuck else is going to go on the card for like 20 to 30 minutes?
Well, it's going to have to be that handicap match.
The show really is going to be like 4 or 5 fucking hours, in which case, oh god, somebody please bring the alcohol. I ain't getting through. Oh, it's 4 hours, and 2 hours of it are going to be, over the top rope Royal Rumble action. Oh, that's cool. Anybody got any scotch? I will take tequila.
Scotch.
Scotchy. Oh my god, now we're making Anchorman references. Oh god, it's breaking down.
Well, I mean, in all honesty, can you really blame us? Like you said, 2 Royal Rumble matches, I still feel like it's going to be a little bit overkill, but I think that
I think so too. That's what I'm really worried about. Like, what I'm really worried about on top of that is that they're going to think of, like, oh god, we don't want to, like, have a Rumble match and then a Rumble match that, that fucking kill him. What I'm really worried about is they're going to bookend the show. Like, the show opens with one of the 2 Rumble matches and it closes with the other.
You see, I think I might prefer that better, but I mean, we also have to remember that they have, the WWE title match, the Universal title matchup, as well as the finals for the U.S. Title tournament. So they could, in all honesty, have one of those matches be first, then one of the Rumbles, then the 2 other matches, and then the final Royal Rumble. Or they could do what they did, and I think it was that 2006? Yeah, it was 2006, where the Royal Rumble was like in the halfway marker, and then they just had like the WWE Championship and the World Heavyweight Championship matchups go on last. I think I understand why they did that, and bravo for them for doing that, because then we got Kurt Angle in the ring, and he's staring with, death itself and The Undertaker, where he basically just demolishes the ring, and we hear Taz with one of the most epic fails on commentary. I still remember watching that live, and them just forgetting to, push the button at the right moment, where you just hear Taz go, "Holy shit, beep! What the hell's going on?" I'm just like, well, that worked out nicely. Oh man, I'm still getting giddy about that. That was just a funny moment. Oh man, if they did something like that during this Royal Rumble, that'd be hilarious. Where somebody just drops the S-bomb, just.
Well, shit.
Well, shit. Beep.
Remember SummerSlam, Mean Gene, fuck it.
Oh man, WWE, they're trying to be PG, but let's face it, when you have guys that like to go off the script, that's some of the best moments.
Well, I still say, and it's going to sound dumb, but for me, the best WWE off-the-script moment, or, like, flubbed line, actually goes to Randy Orton. I think it was on Raw, and he's cutting a promo, and there was, like, technical failure, and then, like, before or after that, he flubbed his line, and he just sort of looks at the crowd and just goes, you know what, live TV is awesome. And there's this little pause before he says awesome, and I'm just like, I fucking love you right now, dude.
Or I think one of my favorite moments was dealing with I think it was pre-Rumble 2005, the promo between Edge and Shawn Michaels, where the microphone is just not working for Shawn, and Shawn just talks about like embarrassing, and then he just like chucks one of the mics and he just follows it up with the microphone. What's embarrassing is I have to change my microphones on live TV. That's embarrassing. It's like, Shawn, you just... All hail to the king of live mics. I mean, sorry, CM Punk, you were great and all, but you ain't got nothing on Shawn Michaels at this point.
As long 1997 Shawn Michaels. 1997 Shawn Michaels was kind of a cunt.
Well, fair enough. All right, so with that being said, I want to talk about one more rumor, and then I want to talk about this last thing, because this was something that I brought up on Twitter, and you actually had a very interesting point to bring up about it. So there's a rumor mill that's going around that WWE may, in fact, be already signing 3 stars. And it's possibly going to be coming to NXT, or they could even come to the main roster. Who knows? The 3 stars that I'm talking about are War Machine and Ricochet. So there's a good chance that they are probably going to be bringing Prince Puma and War Machine to WWE. Oh, the giddiness just continues through this. Because
now, when we say War Machine, we mean Brian Cage, right?
I'm talking about the tag team War Machine.
Oh, goddamn. Okay, because, like, I'm not gonna lie, because if they brought, like, WWE signed Brian Cage. Brian Cage versus Brock Lesnar.
Take my money.
Brian Cage versus Brock Lesnar. I don't even care. I don't need a storyline. Brian Cage versus Brock Lesnar. How to do it with my eyes.
I got one that could probably.
Oh my god. No, but so it's War Machine and who again?
Ricochet, Prince Puma.
War Machine? Okay, this is pretty good. It'd be interesting. The tag team division fucking needs something. Ricochet, he's not going to come in as Ricochet or as Prince Puma. He's going to have a new name. They're probably going to tweak his gimmick and his attitude a bit. There's just no fucking way in hell he's going to be Ricochet. And there is really no way in hell he's going to be Prince Puma.
Oh, man. Yeah, that would... Yeah, man. I'm interested to see what they're doing.
He came in as Prince Puma and he started, like, referencing Mil Muertes on Raw. That might kill me. I would just be like, because it's like fucking Undertaker's retired, I can't get my Mil Muertes versus Undertaker, and now you're bridging the 2 universes together. Don't toy with me like this. At least give me like Pentagon Dark versus Shinsuke Nakamura.
Oh boy, that would be just amazing.
Or Pentagon versus Kevin Owens. They can have a bilingual asshole off.
Hey, that'd be funny. I really want
the biggest douchebag.
And like they have like a temporary contract for like Conan, so like have Pentagon Dark versus Kevin Owens, and like Conan basically just translate between Pentagon and Kevin Owens, and then finally Kevin Owens is just like, yeah, I don't really care, just get out of here.
Have a scene where El Dragon Azteca and Rey Mysterio are talking, and El Azteca is all excited. He's like, oh, this is going to be great. You're from here. They've got to treat masked wrestlers really well here in WWE. And Rey just looks at him like, oh, my sweet summer child. Like, y'all don't even know, man.
Oh, my gosh. Just... Or even just like I'm making a Game Grumps reference when this happens. Just have El Dragon Azteca just say that, and Rey Mysterio just goes
Oh my god! Imagine a confrontation between Alexa Bliss and Taya.
Oh boy, man, we're getting deep into this now.
I want that shit right now. like Taya's kind of like the bigger version of Alexa Bliss. So it's kind of like, who would win, Superman or alternate universe Superman?
Yeah, it's a fair comparison. I mean, yes.
The Black Lotus Triad just coming together 3-on-1 versus Asuka.
Oh man, so I think we're going to get too deep into this. This is another one of those deals where
stop now.
Yeah.
Go too far down the rabbit hole. Oh god, the rabbit tried to stop me.
God damn it! It all comes full circle.
Subject, Nate. Change the subject.
Oh man, this is going full circle right now. Full circle, Aztec Medallion. God damn it! Oh man. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about was actually something that posed a really interesting question. There's a picture that's been going around where basically you choose. There's basically 4 wrestlers that you would choose, and you choose to eliminate one of them. So that means their great moments, their matches, everything that they've done, it's all gone, and all the other 3 are still there. And this was the same question that I posed to you, and we'll start off with you when it came down to this. So who would you eliminate between these 4? So they're gone completely, erased from history, done and done. 4 choices are The Undertaker, Steve Austin, The Rock, and Hulk Hogan.
Okay. Now, anyone who knows me knows that I am not a Hulk Hogan fan. They know I started with WCCW, WCW, Smoky Mountain Wrestling. Hogan was not my kind of wrestling. The guys that I liked from the 80s and Hogan's time were guys like Steamboat and Savage and DiBiase. I've always thought he's kind of a scummy person, so a lot of people would expect me to take out Hogan. I would never pick Hogan. I think Hogan's contributions are too big. I think they're the biggest in terms of connecting wrestling to the mainstream audience, and getting it part of the cultural conversation. And it's part of without Hogan making wrestling in WWE and whatnot blow up during the mid to late 80s, and then a little bit into the early 90s, we probably wouldn't have gotten things like the Attitude Era. For those of us who prefer that and love that time period, so I wouldn't pick him. And Undertaker, I just have far too much love and respect for. He's too entrenched. I could never pick him. So it comes down to Stone Cold and The Rock. And where a lot of people are probably going to be surprised, I would be willing to get rid of The Rock.
Really?
He's got that big crossover appeal, so a lot of that would be lost. But I don't think in the long run, maybe a bit in the short term, but I don't think in the long run it would actually harm WWE all that much. And I think without having him in the same circle of being in the main event as Stone Cold, that maybe the Attitude Era would have, tightened things up a little bit. They would have had, they would have kept the long feuds, but the booking, like, say, in 99 and 2000 wouldn't have been that chaotic, let's hot shot every fucking title to, like, 30 different people and shit like that. Or these crazy convoluted angles, because they would need to have it be smoothed out for maybe shorter periods of time. So, don't get me wrong, I love The Rock. I love him. When I was a kid and growing up and into junior high, Rock was there. He's one of the big guys. But I'm going to pick between the man without whom we wouldn't have wrestling ever gotten big, at least not big on a national, pseudo-global level like it did. The man who was the anchor point for an entire foundation, and then the guy who was quite possibly the most over wrestler of all time. I can do without the great one.
Oh. All right, so let me just take a page out of your strategy, and I'll eliminate the 2 people that I wouldn't, choose in this. I do agree with you with The Undertaker, because, goddamn, even if people can say like he wasn't like the best wrestler, Undertaker definitely delivered some high-quality matches, especially when it came to their big show, WrestleMania. And even, I think that, obviously his point of peaking was obviously WrestleMania 30. I mean, before that, a lot of people will definitely say that, WrestleMania 29, well, he didn't really work the same. He still did his best, though. He still did amazing at WrestleMania 29.
WrestleMania 29, that match was fucking great. Nobody better be talking shit about that match. That pay-per-view was fucking terrible. That pay-per-view was just boring garbage. Like, the only reason I could ever sit through that pay-per-view in its entirety a second time is knowing that close to the end of the show, I get Taker versus Punk. That match is fucking amazing. It's one of the best matches that Punk ever had in WWE.
Yep, I definitely agree. And the second, of course, being Austin, I would not put on the chopping block because, as you said, he's one of the anchor points of what was known as the Attitude Era, one of the most over guys and one of the best, one of the best actual wrestlers in WWE. A lot of people could say, like, well, he's not the high caliber Shawn Michaels. Shawn Michaels was the best entertainer. He brought, entertainment into the deal. Austin.
And plus, I mean, there was a fair amount of crossover appeal with Stone Cold. Like, Stone Cold, when I was in elementary school and junior high, I remember people that would have Austin 316 or the Rattlesnake t-shirt, or like that one t-shirt where he's throwing his arms up and they turn into snakes or whatever. And I knew people that would have a lot of this Stone Cold stuff that had never watched an episode of Raw. Like, he was just that pop. Like, there's a reason why when he retired, the audience, all of a sudden a big chunk of them tuned out. It's because there were wrestling fans, there were WWF fans, and then there were Stone Cold Steve Austin fans. There were people who pretty much only watched, Attitude Era, but Stone Cold was like, there's a reason why people sometimes call it the Austin Era.
Yeah, I definitely do agree with that. So, my final choices would be Hogan and Rock. Now, I see your point when you talked about, The Rock and, some of the stuff that he talked about. I think I feel the same way with the person that I would eliminate, and that being Hogan. Now, I know a lot of people are already going to be raging, like, how could you say that about Hogan? He's a wrestling god, and blah, 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 blah. This was kind of what was going through my mind when I thought about this. So, between Rock and Hogan, Rock definitely delivered a lot of great quality matches, of great quality feuds, as well as memorable moments as an entertainer. For Hogan, I feel like he was the one guy that really was the epitome of what it was to just, I hate using this phrase, but it's very accurate, burying talent. Because you look at everything that he has done. Did he really need to, continue to beat everybody that he did? No. I mean, should he have won the main event of first WrestleMania? Yeah, sure, because it was obviously, the first WrestleMania. Why not? Second WrestleMania, okay. Third WrestleMania, I mean, I guess. I mean, I think that it's one of those moments where it's like, oh my gosh, Hogan could slam Andre. It's a big guy, getting body slammed by a guy who's like half his size. Okay, I get that. I mean, there's still moments where they could have done that, with, weightlifters and stuff like that. WrestleMania 4, they had, Randy Savage winning the title, but who was also in that point? Hulk Hogan. This is where things got interesting. WrestleMania 5, Savage, buried by Hogan. 6, we see Ultimate Warrior win against Hogan. Okay, that's fine. Slaughter, who had one of the best, reigns as heel champion, gets buried by Hogan. They could have done somebody else. No, we decided to do Hogan. WrestleMania 8, we could have had the main event be Randy Savage versus Ric Flair because, that was a good matchup between the two of them. But no, we got that clusterfuck of Hogan versus Sid, and just then we got the Return of the Warrior, which really led to nothing. Okay. WrestleMania 9, we see Hogan defeating Yokozuna after defeating Bret Hart, basically somehow burying Yoko and Bret Hart in the same night, in my opinion. And then, of course, you had everything that happened with WCW, where it was just, shovel, 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 shovel. So that's the main reason why I would take Hogan into the chopping block, and I would have him be eliminated or deleted, as we definitely would say. I just think that he's one of those guys who really should have been done. With Austin, he was one of those guys who still found a way to make everybody else over that worked with him. But with Hogan, I feel like there's very few examples where people have worked with Hogan and have still been able to keep that momentum that they've had of, being that big star, being that big name. After, losing to Hogan, it's just kind of like, it happens. I think the only person I could say that really, captivated the whole, beating Hogan, running with the ball, would probably be Bill Goldberg. I think he's the best example next to the Ultimate Warrior. So, I see where a lot of people can definitely say that Hogan would definitely not be one of the people that they would have because he made everybody's childhood. He made wrestling great. But in all honesty, I looked at it and I think to myself, yeah, but that was because he was burying everybody. It really should have been one of those situations where he was helping, creating stars and not just trying to be the guy that was always getting, heavy paychecks just for beating big names. But that's just my opinion on that.
And I can definitely see where you're coming from. I guess for me, what ends up happening is that he just became too entrenched and too important to history to just get rid of him.
Yeah, I could see that point where, yeah, we mentioned the fact that he was one of the first stars that would, go to Hollywood, or he was one of the big guys who had a lot of career-making moments. They still could have done that with a lot of other guys, and that's one of the biggest arguments that can be made is that, if Hogan was not big, could they have had somebody really captivate that? Yes, they could have. If The Rock wasn't around, could they have had somebody be the most electrifying man in sports entertainment? Yes, they could have. If The Undertaker wasn't around, could they have had somebody had an undefeated streak for as long as he had? Okay, that's kind of pushing the line. I think that there's nobody that could have matched, Undertaker's history and his streak deal. And then Stone Cold Steve Austin, if we didn't, nope, not even an argument at this point. Nope. We do not argue when it comes to the almighty Stone Cold Steve Austin. Yeah, but nope. Nope. I'm going to pull a Dean Ambrose on this. But nope. Yeah, nope. Even before they even say anything. Nope. That's my case in point.
Nope, I can feel you on that.
All right, so with that being said, that's going to wrap it up for this edition of The Game Changer. Thank you, Max Beatty, as always, for being on the show. Always fun doing this with you.
My pleasure. As you said, as always, fucking love doing this with you, man.
And, of course, you guys, you can always follow Mr. Max Beatty on his Twitter at Agent Cooper 1989. You can follow me on Twitter at RealFNGame, and also give us a like on the Facebook fan page, facebook.com/changing up the game. So, with that being said, a lot of things going into this month, but I'll definitely talk about that throughout the week because, geez Louise, it's going to be absolutely just insane what's going on. But what I can reveal is that tomorrow we will actually be doing something very special in which we will give you another show featuring myself and Mr. Max Beatty, in which we are going to be talking about... We're basically doing like this movie versus style deal here where we're just going to pick a few movies, we're going to pit them up against each other, and basically determine which movie was the best out of all of them. So tomorrow, definitely tune into that, you guys, because let's just say we're basically going to be appreciating a lot of what Marvel's been doing with these three movies. So not going to give any more than that, but just be sure to stay tuned to that because it is definitely a can't-miss show. So thank you.
Better listen to it.
So... that is going to wrap it up for this edition, you guys. Just remember that we live by two models, and that is indeed spreading joy one person at a time and change the game one day at a time. So thank you so much, you guys, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Bye-bye.
See you.